Hello everyone. In this lecture series, we will talk about the file handling. Before that, you actually need to know what exactly I do mean by file. Okay. So you have seen a .c file, where you are writing your C program. We have also seen .py file where you have written your Python program. Just like that, we have, or we will typically have here is what is called as a text file. Okay. Let me just draw it in a bigger fashion. Okay. So consider that this is a file. Okay. I may save this with a name, let's say some ABC or any name you can give, and with an extension .txt, indicating that it is a text file. Okay. Or I may create a file with an extension .dat, indicating that it's a data file. Okay. So this is the file which is exactly we will deal over here. Okay. So till now we are basically following a procedure, okay, for taking the input, processing that input inside your program, and then showing some output on the screen. Okay. So if you observe this diagram, what we typically mean by program is your .c file, okay, and on this side what we have is an input. Okay, so let's consider this is an input side and this is an output side. Okay, so when you try to execute any program, okay, and basically if you have inserted a feature from taking the input from the user, so that input is basically taken from the keyboard. Okay, and this input that you enter inside the keyboard is processed through a thing called as a stdin. Okay, so this stdin and stdout on the output side are basically you can say streams or pipelines through which the data is getting provided to your program. Okay, but if you observe this procedure, once the some logic is applied on your data and some output is shown on your screen. Okay, but if you closely observe this procedure, it comes with so many of the disadvantages. Okay, so let's consider if I give you, let's say, 100 numbers. If you have a set of 100 numbers and I ask you to sort them out. Okay, so you nicely write a logic for sorting those numbers by storing it some, let's say, array or something different thing. Okay, then you try to execute that program. Okay, I give you 100 numbers, you type in those 100 numbers through your keyboard, process those numbers by your logic and try to show some output. Okay, so while you execute your program, you may encounter that you have made some logical error inside your program or code. Okay, so what do is you go back to your program. Okay, change it according to whatever is the logical error present over it. Then you again try to execute that program. Then you find out that after entering those 100 numbers, that you have done some mistake over there. Okay, so what you do is you again go back to your program, again manipulate your code, then again execute it, then again enter those 100 numbers, and then again take the output. Okay, so in this complete procedure, you have to unnecessarily enter those 100 numbers. Okay, repeated number of times, even if your logic is not making any sense. Okay, so to avoid this disadvantage, and one more disadvantage is that whatever the sorted numbers are, they are not stored anywhere permanently. Okay, even if you claim that you have sorted those numbers inside the array, but if you close down your program, okay, so those values inside that array are just gone. Okay, they are just gone, you cannot retrieve them back. Okay, so there is no means to store your output somewhere. Okay, so in place of using keyboard as your input and the screen or the terminal as your output, what we'll be using over here is a file. Okay, you can say a text file. I will give it a name, some in.txt. So this is my input file wherein I can actually write those 100 numbers. Okay, and instead of entering it every time through keyboard, what I will do is I will provide this file to my program. Okay, then my program will basically apply that sorting logic over that file, and it may also store the output in some another file. Let's call it out.txt. Okay, so this is the idea behind using the files. Okay, so files are used basically to just abstract your input values into one file and provide it to your program, and whatever the program is doing its job on that on those numbers, and then saving it somewhere, okay, so that you can refer to that output file anytime when you require. Now, it's not necessary that in every program you just use files for both inputting your data and outputting your data. It may happen that in some cases, let's say you are using your file just for the input, but you are showing something or some output on your screen. Okay, or it may happen that sometimes you take your input from the keyboard but show your output on the screen. Okay, so this may also happen, or it may happen that in some cases you just take an input from your input file and provide the output to your output file as well. Okay. So giving some more elaboration about files is, these files are just normal, text files or data files where some alphabets could be there, something like some alphabets could be there, or some numbers could be there, like this, okay, or some special characters could be there, okay. So inside these files, along with data, what extra thing we have is an EOF character. EOF stands for end of file. Okay, so this end of file character or this EOF thing is present as the last member of any file. Okay, beyond this EOF thing, you won't find any data. Okay, so if you, let's say, create one text file, put in some data by just typing some numbers or words from the keyboard, okay, so there will be an invisible EOF character present at the end of every file, okay, so that if someone tries to read this file, okay, so EOF will indicate that there is no data beyond this point. Okay, so this is all about the preliminaries that are required to handle the programs where files are included. Let's talk about some basic operations that can be performed over the files is. So treat files as a book, okay, or some pieces of paper that you want to deal with, okay. So to read any book, okay, what is the first thing that you require to do is to open that book, okay. So here, opening a file is one of the basic things that has to be performed over the file. The next thing is you can read that file. Okay, so reading operation can be performed. Third could be write. You can write over some data on that file. And the last is close that file. Okay. So to perform all these operations, okay, we have different functions. Okay. So example, for opening a file, we have an fopen function, and to close a file, we have fclose. Okay, and how to read and write? How do we read and write the data from the keyboard and output the data on the screen is with the help of scanf, printf, we have getS, we have putS. To read a single character, we also have getC and putC. Okay, so these are the various operations through which you can read and write some data from the keyboard and on the screen. Okay, so similarly here there are some functions. Let's list them out. A very basic function that you use is printf function. Okay, what printf does is whatever you just put in as the argument inside the printf, that will be printed on the screen. Okay, so here it will be fprintf. Similarly, we will have fscanf for reading the data. Okay, then we will have fgetC to read in the single character. We will also have fputC to print a single character on the file. Then we will have getW for reading a single integer from the file. We'll also have putW for printing a single integer on the file. Then for strings, we will have fgetS, okay, which is similar to the getS, but here f in every place indicates that whatever the operation is going to be performed, that will be performed on the file. Okay, then we'll have fputS. Okay, so these are the functions that you will require for reading and writing, okay, apart from this f open and f close. Okay, so through programs, let's see one by one how to deal with all these functions. So before we begin to, start executing our programs and understand how the things are actually working out, we'll first understand the very basic procedure that is required for handling file in any of the program. Okay. So we'll first have to see, how to include our file into our program. Okay. So let's say I have a folder with some name. Okay. So it could be any folder. So assume that I have created a folder with my name. Okay. Inside that I will have two files. Okay. One file will be this demo C. Okay. Demo C is, or rather demo.c is a file where I am actually writing down my C program. Okay. Just like you are doing in your labs and in your practice problems. Okay. Apart from that, what I will have is the test.txt. Okay. Inside which I will have my data. Okay. The data that you actually enter through keyboards, now that will be permanently stored inside a text file. You can give it any name and keep it in the same folder where you have stored your .c file. Okay. So these both the files have to be inside a same folder. Okay. Please keep this thing in your mind that both the files, the text file and the .c file, which is your C program, have to be in the same folder. Okay. So if you try to store a file, a text file in some another folder and your .c file in some another folder, then you will have to basically create or rather add the complete path of your text file inside your C program. And how to add that we'll just see. Okay. But to keep the things pretty simple, what you have to do is please keep your both .c and .txt file inside the same folder. Okay. So now we'll see. Let's say some data is already present over here in my test.txt. Let's say some numbers are present. Okay. And at the end, what I will have here is EOF. Okay. This EOF is not visible to a computer user. Okay. It is something which is internally stored by your compiler or operating system. Okay. Mostly the operating system. Okay. So when you will create a text file and put some data over there, your operating system will by default keep an EOF character which is having some ASCII value, okay, to indicate that this is the end of your text file. Okay. So I have my two files already written. Now I will try to write down the demo.c, which is exactly your C program. Okay. So firstly, what you will do is the normal hash include stdio.h. Then inside the main, okay, what I will have to do is I will have to write file star fp. Okay, so this file star is basically a pointer thing which we haven't covered yet. So I cannot explain you in a very full-fledged manner what exactly this file star fp is doing, but you just have to learn it by heart that to create a file pointer we'll have to write file, which is basically a structure, then star fp. Okay, so fp will now have f open. That means I am opening one file. Inside this f open, the first parameter that I will give is the name of my text file. In this case it is test.txt, comma, then the second parameter would be the mode in which I want to open that file. Okay, so right now I write it R over here, indicating that I have to open test.txt in read mode. Okay, so R is indicating read mode. Okay, so the other modes are R is for read, W is for writing something over that file, and A stands for append. Okay, that means if some data is already present over the file and I want to, let's say, concatenate some data over that, then I can use the append mode. So right now what I'm using is this R mode. Okay, that means I'm opening, F open means open this file in read mode. Okay, so inside the double quotes, I have mentioned the test.txt. Okay, if you have saved your input file, or let's say text file, or the data file in some another folder, then in place of this, you will have to include the complete path of that file. Okay, so for example, this test.txt is in some another folder in, let's say, D on D drive you have stored. So the complete path like D colon double slash, and the complete path has to be mentioned over here. Okay. So now what this FP is doing is, this FP now points to this file. Okay. So from this point onwards, I will remember that FP nothing but my file, my text file. Okay. So once I have opened the file, okay, so this F open will basically return some pointer. Okay. If this file already exists, okay, if the test.txt does not exist, that means if this file is not present, okay, then what will happen is this fopen will return you back null. Okay, and to test whether actually there exists a file with this name, I will do something like if fp is found to be null, okay, then I will do printf error in opening my file. Okay, so if is closed, then else, then whatever you want to do, and here finishes my main. So this is something like a template that we will have to follow in each and every program. Okay, so I will just go through it once again. So inside the main, what I have is a file pointer indicated by name fp. You can have any other name, but this file star is sort of a compulsion to write. Okay, so with file star, you can mention anything. You know, you can mention fptr or any name that you wish for. So now I have return fp equal to fopen. Okay, so this fopen will basically open that book. It will open that file. Okay, which file it will open? The file that you have given over here. So I have given test.txt. Okay, and I have indicated the mode R. If I indicate W in place of this file will be opened in the W mode. Okay, and remember, whenever the file is opened in the write mode, if there exists some data in that file, that will be just removed off. Okay, that will be just cleaned off from that file. Okay, and a new file will be opened to be returned, and that file will be blank. Okay, if you do not want this, if you want to preserve the old contents, then you'll have to open the file with A, that means append mode. Okay, so if there exists some data inside the text file, so it will remain as it is, and whatever you go on writing the data, that will be basically appended from the end position. Okay, so fp is basically, as I said, is the pointer to the function, is pointer to the file that I want to refer to. Okay, in this case it is test.txt. So this format is just sort of a template that you will have to follow. Okay, and then I will have to first test if this fp is null, if fp equal to null. Okay, so if file doesn't exist, what fopen will return back is null in the fp. Okay, so if this fp is found to be null, I can just print error. Okay, and my program will basically end. Okay, if this is not the case, then inside the else part, okay, inside this else part, I will write down the complete logic of my program. Okay, and this complete thing, this complete program is nothing but my demo.c. Okay, so this is how you will include any text file or your input file inside your C program. Okay, so if you want, let's say if you have two files, one is ip.txt is there, one more file is there with the name out.txt. Now let's say I want to read some data from in.txt, okay, and I want to write some output on out.txt. Okay, then you will have to basically create two pointers. Okay, one pointer that will point to your in.txt and one pointer that will point to your out.txt. Okay, so here you can just give, let's say, fpi comma fpo. Okay. So these are the two pointers, fpi and fpo. Let fpi point to this in.txt, so I can make the changes as fpi So FPI is basically pointing to my input text file. Okay, I can create another file pointer. Let's call it FPO equal to fopen. And similarly, the first parameter will be the out.text that you'll write over here, comma. This has to be opened with write mode because you want to write down something on that file. Okay, and you don't need to uh, consider this FPI for FPO. Okay, that means you don't need to consider the null value for FPO. Just writing down if FPI equal to null will do your job. Okay, and then whatever the data that you want to take an input from or the output on that file, that will be handled by just two names, FPI and FPO. Okay, so whenever I will say, or whenever I will refer to FPI, what I will mean is in.txt, and whenever I will refer to FPO, what I will mean is this out.txt. Okay, so let's go to the compiler and see how the complete functions work and how these things work, so that the things will be more clear.